Hello and welcome to Inside Music, episode number 57. I'm your host, James Shotwell, and as you might have noticed, the sound is a little weird right now. That's not going to be the way the whole episode is. The episode actually has really great sound quality, but like an episode we recorded earlier this month, I am not in the studio right now. You see, Holix, the company that sponsors this podcast and employs me, is opening our very first office in downtown Minneapolis, and me, being a resident of Boston, Massachusetts, had to make a decision. So I packed up my entire life into my car in a moving pod, and am currently on a cross-country journey between Boston and Minnesota, currently residing in Michigan, where all of my family and friends are. I'm just here for a day, taking it in, saying hi to everybody, and then continuing on our way until we reach the Twin Cities. It's going to be an interesting turn, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more in the weeks ahead. But you're here for a show, and that's what I'm going to give you. Just wanted to let you know the quality of the recording will increase once we get to the actual show. On this week's episode, I'm chatting with my friend Will Zweller of Toothgrinder. Now, some of you may know Toothgrinder, and some of you may not, and that's perfectly okay because the band's right on the cusp of national stardom. Toothgrinder's been around for the better part of the last half-decade, but their first full-length album, Nocturnal Masquerade, won't hit stores until this Friday, January 29th, via Spinefarm Records. It's a crazy release. I don't even really know how to describe it to you. At one point, Toothgrinder can be like a between the Buried in Me type mathcore band, and another moment they can be this extreme metal band, and then in another song they'll take it way back and do something far more relaxed and groovy. They're a band that is not afraid to do whatever feels right to them, and that's kind of what attracted me to them in the first place. About a month ago, someone emailed me and told me that I absolutely had to hear the new Toothgrinder album. I told them they could go ahead and send it over. I fell in love right away, and I knew we had to have Wills on the show. So I'm excited to make that happen for you today. Before we get to the show, I do have to tell you a few quick things. First off, Inside Music has a Twitter account, and you should follow it. It's at Inside Music Pod. That's at Inside Music POD. Post show updates, upcoming guests, little asides from episodes you may have missed, and a bunch of other fun stuff. Secondly, follow the blog. That's haulixdaily.com, HAULIX daily.com. Third, and possibly most important, our sponsor. This week's episode, as with all episodes of Inside Music, is brought to you by Holix, the internet's leading digital promotional distribution system. Whether you're looking to get your music in front of the press or you need a little help fighting piracy, Holix has the tools you need. For more information on Holix and access to a free 30-day trial, visit www.holix.com. That's www.haulix.com. So we got the Twitter, we got the blog, we got the sponsor, and I think that's everything. Oh, we might have a new producer in the upcoming weeks. I'm looking for a producer right now for the show. We've got a lot of guests coming on. I'm really trying to step up the entire production of Inside Music. So if you know someone, I'm still accepting applications, so I have a few people in mind already. If you'd like to be a part of Inside Music in some way, you can email James at haulix.com. That's James at haulix, HAULIX.com. And yeah, we're going to play a little music from the new Toothgrinder album. Again, that's called Nocturnal Masquerade, and it hits stores this Friday, January 29th. The song is called Blue, and in the episode, you'll hear why it's chosen as the song for this week's pod. So yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for the support with this move I'm undergoing, and I promise next week, everything will be back to normal once more, and I will be a resident of Minnesota, which we will probably talk about a little bit. Okay, let's get to the show. Not too much. Where are you at right now?
I'm at my house in New Jersey.
Okay, I'm in Boston, so we have similar weather.
Okay, yeah, dude, I hate the cold.
No doubt. It's pretty awful. So are you like in the middle of a big interview day right now?
Yeah, we got a bunch. I just finished one. I think I have like 2 or 3 more after this, something like that.
Do you guys like split up who does what day of press, or is this like all day just you?
We try and split up as much as possible. When we're home, we all work. We all work full-time jobs and whatnot. So we're always like, all right, I'll take my lunch break at 4, and you take your lunch break at 3. We try and like work it out. Today I was just like, dude, I'm just taking off because we have so many. So I'm just like, oh, whatever. I don't mind not going to work and just talking to people all day. That's fine.
No, I get that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
we try to split it though.
Well, that's awesome, man. Thanks for taking some time to talk to me today.
Oh, dude, we appreciate you guys thinking of us, man. It means a lot. Thank you.
Well, I gotta tell you, like, it was probably like a month ago. Mike Mowry reached out to me and was just like, "You need to talk to these guys." And
Nice.
I was like, I don't know that I've even heard the album yet. And he was like, "I will get it for you."
Yeah.
So I was like, "All right, man." And then he had Amy and John send it over, and I was like, "I do need to talk to these guys." Good guess.
Yeah. That rules.
Yeah, so you guys definitely have the word of mouth down.
That's awesome, man. You know, we've slowly been hearing more people, you know, talking about us and just saying just such kind things. And it's like, I can't be any happier than I already am. Everyone has been so nice, so respectful, and just like encouraging of our new record and this and that. And it's just so interesting because, you know, like, we're such a new band that being a new band, you hear from all the older bands, oh, everyone's just going to rip you apart. This is so terrible. I'm like, I don't know where you guys are or who your guys are hanging out with because everyone is so nice. Like, you're crazy. And it's just been great, dude. I love it.
Well, that's good to hear, man. So I guess
Yeah.
we'll just dive into it. So we're like I don't know, 8 days away from Nocturnal Masquerade finally coming
Yep.
out.
Oh, my God.
Does it feel like a long time coming at this point?
Yup. Oh my God, it's a lifetime, dude. I've waited my whole life for an opportunity to put out a full-length record on a record label. Like, dude, just being a little kid and just having that dream of like telling your mom, like, Mom, I'm gonna get signed and we're gonna do this, and like, you know, you never think that's really gonna happen. And like, dude, like you said, here we are, man. A couple days from releasing our first full-length on a real awesome record label with like my best friends. It's just like, okay, this is amazing.
No doubt. Well, let's back up a bit and give people the history. Well, not the whole history because that would take us a little bit of time. But let's. So you guys launched in 2010, and you do a first. Is everyone the same member from the very beginning?
Just recently we had one guitar player move on. He has some other things going on, and so he moved on just to do other life things. And so we just recently got a new guitar player, but that's okay. He's such a phenomenal fit and such a good piece of the puzzle that like I didn't know we were missing, and now I guess we have, you know. But yeah, basically after that we all went to high school together.
Oh, know? Wow. So
yeah, like I'm talking the last tour we were on, not the Crucible one, but the Faceless one. We were playing a show with Faceless, After the Burial, and Rings of Saturn. That was the entire tour that we were on. And then our tour met up with Texas in July and Reflections. And so those are some heavy hitter metal bands. And I remember being at the venue and looking at Jason, who's our guitar player, and we were in the same gym class together, senior year of high school. And I looked at him and I go, you remember when we were like talking about how we like to play guitar and drums and like maybe we would start a band? Like, yeah, I was like, you ever think we'd be like doing this today? You know, like 6-7 years later, being like, oh yeah, we're playing the Skyway Theater, which is like a huge venue in Minnesota with like some of the coolest metal bands in the game at the moment. And we just looked at each other like, I didn't think this was going to happen in high school. This is kind of crazy, you know, like just so wacky.
No, that is insane. And I think, it's strange because I remember when you guys first burst onto the scene in the early, just 2011, 2012, and people had a lot of kind of internet hype behind you. And then it went quiet for a long time. And now like the hype train is kind of re-emerging. So I guess we should let's start. That seems like a good place to start for the uninitiated on Toothgrinder. So you guys have these 2 EPs that come out, and you get some good critical acclaim, some fan acclaim online. And then what happens between 2012 and where we are today?
So I think that was more like that was our 2 years to kind of really define ourselves as a band and find our sound and just figure out if we really wanted to do this. You know, from 2012, we released Vibration Color Frequency, which was just straight up DIY, no label, no management, no nothing. Just like, cool, let's just give our paychecks to a dude and let's record a record, you know? And so we helped with it, did all this, and that record, you know, it was an 18-minute song, so it kind of turned some heads. People were kind of just like, damn, like, what are you guys doing? This is kind of crazy, you know? And that fueled our fire a little bit. And so we play more shows and we book our own tours and this and that. And luckily enough, in that time period, in those like 2 years before the EP was even thought about, I was fortunate enough to meet Matt Halpern, if you're a little unfamiliar, he's the drummer of Periphery. And, you know, Periphery is a fantastic band, just wonderful guys, wonderful band, very talented. And so I met him through a drum clinic. I was just helping set up a drum clinic, this and that. And, you know, I got talking to Matt. I didn't even tell him I was in a band. I was just trying to be a nice guy, you know, whatever. So we became friends. He gave me his number. We linked up, just kind of talked for a while. And I remember like a year later, we did a DIY tour in California. You know, our guitar player, Jason, and we kind of just, he booked a lot of shows. I booked a couple. We set things up, this and that. And it was just, I don't know, we didn't know what to do. So we just figured, okay, let's tour. And we're like, cool, we're from New Jersey. Well, let's go somewhere where we're not from. And so we did a DIY tour in California for like 2 weeks for some strange, crazy reason. I don't know why, but whatever. We did it. It was cool. I got home. Nothing really came out of it. And I remember calling Matt Halpern and being like, dude, like, you got a minute to talk? He's like, absolutely. What's up? You know? And I was like, yo, man, like, we just did this. We did this. We did this. What am I missing? You know what I mean? Like, what am I missing? What do we need to do? And he goes, dude, give me 10 minutes, you know? And I was like, oh, okay. And 10 minutes later, Mike Mowery called us, and he's the owner of Outer Loop. And I believe at the time, Mowery was managing Periphery. And so Halpern's like, here you go. This is Mike Mowery. This is our management, this and that. So I started talking to Mowery, and he's like, okay, so you guys are like young band, this and that. Tell him all about it. He goes, all right, cool. Let's work together. And I was just like, okay. So I guess this is like a good step in the right direction. And then, God, he must have emailed us like 2 weeks later, and he goes, hey, guys, I got you a little opening at Taylor Larson's studio in 2 weeks, so I hope you guys are ready. Let's do an EP. And we're just like, okay, well, fine. Yeah, let's do it. We're not going to take that opportunity. So we go in, record the EP, have no clue what's going to happen, you know? And, again, this is like 2014 now, after kind of just rolling around New Jersey and this and that, playing shows, you know, in the tri-state area. And so we record this EP we go in, just pay for the whole thing ourselves because we're so new at the time. You know, we didn't have any like financial backing or anything. So pay for the record, and they're just like, all right, you know, they didn't know going in because we didn't know them too well. They didn't know how it was going to sound, if we were going to just be a total flop. You know, they had no clue. They were just like, all right, we'll believe in you enough to at least get you into Taylor to do this. So we did it, and we presented them with, you know, our EP. And I remember, like, they weren't trying to be mean or anything. I just remember them saying, wow, didn't expect this. You know, they were so psyched on the EP that we made, which just, oh my God, it made us feel so good, you know, so good inside to just be like, perfect. These guys actually believe in us, you know? So a little while later, they just took the EP, like before it was out or anything, and they started shopping it around to labels. So then we all got excited. We're just like, holy shit, like, this is crazy. Okay, this is the kind of direction that we hoped it was going to go in. We just didn't have that one little piece of the puzzle. Like, there's only so many doors that I can open or another dude in the band can open. We needed help, you know, with just growing the band. And sure enough, you know, offers started coming in for the EP. And luckily enough, you know, we spoke with Spinefarm. Spinefarm Records was one of the coolest bunch of people we met. And I remember meeting him for the first time and looking at the dudes in the band and being like, they're either the coolest, most down-to-earth people I've ever met, or the best bullshitters I've ever met. And luckily, they've just been the coolest, most down-to-earth people I've ever met. And they've been so encouraging. So they picked up the record, they put it out, and that's kind of what got the ball really rolling with, like, Toothgrinder being a real band, is, like, just those couple people who just believed in us and gave us a shot, knowing that we had no credentials to show them. You know, just like, nope, just a bunch of kids who went to high school together from New Jersey, and, like, they're fun to hang out with, but I don't know if their music is good. And they believed in us. And they let us do these crazy things and make these records and write the songs that we wanted to write and choose the album art that we wanted to choose, and just encourage us to be us only to be us and to be original and creative. And I hope we did a good job for them. And I feel like I did a good job for at least myself, you know?
Well, I mean, that's what matters first.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. I am so proud of this record. It was, and maybe some other people can't say this about their band stuff, and I'm not going to ever point out any bands, but I know for me that when I play a song, like, and I'm on stage, I believe in that song, like 100%. And when I listen to it, I believe in it. And it's emotional for me because, you know, we wrote it, and it's just something that we back as a group. You know, everyone believes in it, and I feel like the emotional attachment really comes out live, especially live, because that's just, you know, that you're putting your heart on your sleeve at that point. You know, that you can't really hide behind anything. And it's just been incredible. Just, you know, roundabout way, it's just been incredible. Everyone has been so awesome with just helping us get to the point we are now, to this interview today. Like, you got to think, I probably would have never talked to you
True.
if it wasn't for Mallory and Spinefarm and them just believing in us, being like, no, you got to talk to these guys, you got to listen to this record. Like, they didn't have to believe in us, and they did. And it's just, I owe a big thank you to them, you know, just straight up just to them for just helping myself and the dudes in my band really make, as corny as it sounds, our dream a reality, you know, because it always just starts with a dream. You know, no one ever thinks, like, I'm going to start this band, we're going to get signed, we're going to get huge, we're going to go on tour with Mastodon, you know, like, whatever. No one thinks that, but you hope for it. You might not say it, but you sure as hell hope for it. And luckily enough, they've pushed us in such a wonderful direction that I couldn't be happier with the outcome. Even if it ended like abruptly, I still would be like, man, thanks for that. Like, thanks for that little time. That was really great. I don't know.
No, I completely understand. I mean, it's rare to find, it's hard to find a single person who's like, I believe in what you're doing. And you guys have found a way to kind of surround yourself by a team of people who all seem to have that, like, outlook, where they're like, I get what you're doing, and I just want you to do it, as opposed to being like, I want to guide you to doing this better. They're more like, be yourself.
Yeah, which is just crazy.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you
about
I was going to ask you a little bit about what it was like to kind of initially get, you know, kind of oriented with the Spinefarm world, because they've really had, like, the last year for Spinefarm has been kind of insane. They've put out a lot of great records, and they do seem to be a label that really works with artists that they love first and foremost, as opposed to being like, oh, this makes sense because of what else they've signed. It's more like, oh, this must be what they're listening to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, that was a cool thing, you know, with other labels, when we spoke with them and stuff, sometimes it felt like we were part of a handful of bands that they were going to throw against a wall, and if one stuck, they were going to really concentrate on it, you know? With Spinefarm, they just cared about what we thought, you know, and they were just like, okay, what's going to make this easy for you? What's going to make this better for you? What's going to be this? What's going to be that? You know, and they just believed in us. That's all. Straight up just believed in us the whole time. And I don't know. That's really, like, that's really all it was. That's what fueled our fire. It's just them believing in us. It's like, cool. You want to write a song about this? do it. Make it the best song you can. This and that. And they were just so encouraging. I know I keep going back to how encouraging they were and how nice, but because they were.
Oh no, yeah, it makes sense.
It's just been incredible, and I can't not harp on how awesome that's been for us. To not get in our way. That doesn't sound nice, but no, to just not step in and say okay, that song's cool, but why don't you do this? It's I don't believe in that. I believe in this. There wasn't a single time where we had a disagreement or this or that. It's just so incredible.
Yeah, no, that's kind of what was so impressive to me is that I've been writing about bands for about a decade now, and it's rare that you get more than one pitch email that's a personalized email. You get lots of pitches for new bands because that's how people make money in management and publicity. But to get like Mike, for example, management, for people who don't know who we're talking about, actually wrote me a very personalized email that was you can tell when it's a personal pitch email because they reference things that aren't just the band. You know what I mean? He highlighted something I'd written recently, and he was like, "I like that you did this. Maybe you'll like this, and here's why you'll like this thing." And he followed up with me. He wanted to make sure I listened to this record. And I think that's what it takes to be a good manager or a good publicist. And you guys have kind of won the lottery of having a whole team of people who do exactly that thing.
And just for you telling me that makes me feel so good that it's not only is he kind and respectful to me when he talks to me, but when he talks about me or my band to others, he's exactly the same. And it's you want that guy on your team, I remember going back to high school when we first heard about Outer Loop. I didn't really know what Outer Loop was. I didn't know that management would really be a help. I just had no idea. I didn't know. And I remember meeting him for the first time and just being whoa, this is the coolest dude. This is the piece of the puzzle that I was missing, this teammate that I can really, really count on at all times. And luckily, he's not only the manager of our band, he became such a close friend. Band aside, even if the band broke up tomorrow, I would still text Mallory on Friday and be like, dude, what are you doing this weekend? We just developed such a wonderful relationship that goes way deeper than the band and work and this and that. And it's just I couldn't have asked for a better teammate, and with Spinefarm too, not to exclude them. God, those dudes too, just the team and the respect level is incredible.
Well, it's good to hear that, man. I guess we should talk about this album that they've been hyping up so much.
I don't know. I haven't heard it.
When did you guys actually write and record Nocturnal Masquerade?
So we've been writing and doing little demos and everything since before April of last year, honestly. As soon as we were done with the EP, we shopped it around and we got on a Periphery tour. And while we were shopping it around, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know we were going to get signed, this and that. So we immediately, as soon as we were done, just went right back and just started writing again and just writing songs. Luckily, we got picked up, by a label. They put out our EP. And then we started going on tour with all these incredible bands. And just to name a few, Periphery, Intervals, Revocation, The Contortionist, Fallujah, 36 Crazy Fists, we went on tour with these incredible bands, and so we were just constantly being inspired by all these musicians, by these incredible guitar players and drummers and bass players and vocalists. So after every single tour, we would come home with just a wealth of knowledge from watching each band play every day and just picking up on cool things that they do live, or how Periphery gets the crowd to just focus on them and not their phones and not their girlfriend. Everyone's focused on them, and you pick little things up and you kind of bring that to your band. That's at least what I do. It's almost like when I go to a show, I don't go to a show to mosh. I go to a show to learn what that band is doing to captivate their crowd. And then I try and take it to what I'm doing, and I try to do it in our own little way. And I don't know, hopefully it works out. But we were just so inspired by so many cool bands that we just started writing and writing and writing, knowing that we're like, all right, we're going to have to do a full length. Like, we just got signed. That is right around the corner. I want to be ready for that, So once it came time to be like, all right, the full length reared its head and was like, all right, time to do it. We were ready. We were so ready. We went back in with Taylor Larson, who did our EP. And so the best part about that is he did our EP. He knew the direction we were headed in. So the first day, it was like, cool. We just picked up right where we left off. He already had a vision of like the way the drums are going to sound, the way the guitars are going to sound, the way the record as a whole is going to sound, and I think that's why it came out the way it did, is because everyone was on the same page going in. It's like that, and I'm not even comparing it to this record because this is in another category, but it's like that Dark Side of the Moon where everything just worked out. You know what I mean? Everything they did, for me personally, on that record works. From the order of the songs, the sound, the things they talk about, the sonic qualities of each song, songs that have no vocals and just have music, but it still makes you feel a certain way. And they're not even saying anything. They're just playing instruments, but it still makes you feel the same way that you do when you listen to Breathe or something like that, And I feel like we hit the nail on the head for what we were going for, with kind of creating an atmosphere for just an entire album, because an EP is short. EP is 4 songs. You can't really be an artist, let's say, with such a short amount of time. It's more just like, hey, look at me. We're a band. Try not to forget. We'll be back. We'll be back. I promise. With the full length, you can really just dig deep and be an artist and set themes and bring things back. That Justin, our vocalist, he talks about things that he talked about in the Schizophrenic EP. He brings back names and he brings back characters and like little voices, and it's just really cool. That there's one thing that I would love to highlight on the Elephant Head, our album cover. So
yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, before we got signed, we put out a DIY 18.5-minute long song called Vibration Color Frequency. And the cover of that was the first kind of go at this hybrid elephant head, because the elephant head was obviously the elephant head, and it had antlers and wolf eyes. So it was this hybrid of an elephant is really powerful. And when I think of an elephant, I think of just power. And then when I think of antlers, like deer antlers, you see deer antlers on like this kind of regal, nice someone's house, with like a lot of money, expensive, yada, yada, yada. And then you look at wolf eyes and they're very mysterious and you kind of don't know what's going on. So we incorporated all these almost like animals together to form this one animal, and we named it Jubilee. So Schizophrenic Jubilee. Jubilee is kind of like this character, almost like Eddie from Iron Maiden. So Jubilee is this elephant head character kind of thing. And so with Nocturnal Masquerade, we all loved that image, So we kind of brought it now to this record, and we kind of made it, we matured, just like the band matured, the elephant did. So his horns grew out and started curving. His hair got longer and shaggier. We added feathers, so we added another animal. And it's kind of funny, and this might be me nerding out just because I love this stuff, but we added feathers that weren't there before. But with the new record, we've been traveling more. And I feel like it's very symbolic of the feathers and like traveling and flying, that we've been now with this record is taking us to another level. And it's just kind of crazy that we added feathers to the art. And I love looking into things like a crazy person like that. But it's just cool how we're tying all of this together into our record and into our band and into just the common flow of how we do things. So
I follow. No, I love the artwork, and I did notice the callback to the earlier EP. So I was curious about the evolution of that symbol, I guess, and how I'm interested to see if you continue to kind of build on it as we move forward.
Yeah, and it's cool too because Nocturnal Masquerade, it's kind of like a dream sequence. In a dream, you can be anything or anyone. You can be the single mother who is working 5 jobs. You can be the businessman who's rich and just can buy and sell everything. You can be, you could be a serial killer. You could be someone's mistress. You could have a mistress. You could do and be anything. You can fly. You can breathe underwater. You know what I mean? So with this, it's almost like that mask, that elephant, is mixtures of every sort of element in the band, and it's kind of like a mask you put on, and you change into something else, and into that mysterious dream sequence type thing. And it's just cool. You know, I like having underlying themes besides just having music. I like having another side of it, you know, almost like not as in depth, but almost like a Coheed and Cambria type deal, where, you know, they have these incredible songs that are anthems, but when you dig in a little deeper, there's a whole nother side of things, you know, and it's just like, wow, that's an artist. That is a straight up artist to me. And that's so cool that, bringing back to what we like writing a full length, you can be an artist. You can incorporate all those things, and it's so exciting to be able to do it and to have the opportunity to do it. And I feel like we kind of, lack of better words, grabbed it by the horns and really went for it.
Well done. Way to bring it back full circle there. It's good to hear, man. I did want to ask about the album a bit. You kind of mentioned it was like a dream sequence there, because it is kind of a challenging record for me to describe to people that don't know your band, because I'm like, well, the first song is kind of chaotic and all over the place, but on later tracks there's like some influence that seems to be a little bit Mastodon riffs. Like you guys definitely you guys settle into some different areas of rock here that we haven't really seen you explore before. So can you talk a little bit about that, like your evolution with this writing of this record?
Yeah, I feel like when we sit down to write something, literally no one says no. No one says, that's not really metal, or like, no, we take a riff. Like I'm the drummer, and I write guitar riffs sometimes, and sometimes I come to the table with a guitar riff, and the guitar player's like, hell yeah, dude, I would have never thought of that. You know what I mean? Or the guitar player stops me and is like, yo, try and do this drum beat. And no one ever is like, no, you're the guitar player, I'm not doing that. Everyone just is extremely open-minded, and it's not one person that writes the songs. So we have characteristics of everyone's brain in there. And one dude loves, well, we all love Mastodon, but for whatever, one dude loves Mastodon, one dude loves Pink Floyd, one dude loves Kill Switch Engage, another guy loves Between the Buried and Me. Now take all those guys and write one song. And it's just like, whoa, you're going to get that and this and that and dark and light and angry and mad and sexual and mysterious. You're going to get everything. You're going to get everything. And we thrive on that. We thrive on using everyone as a weapon to creating the song. And it's just cool. And I think that's why our songs turn out maybe different sounding than others, because we don't just have a single dude writing it. It's everyone's brain working overtime, basically, and that's where we just find our sound.
Well, that's awesome to hear, man. Let me ask you this. With the album coming out next week, and I'm sure you guys have a few release shows around next weekend, but looking beyond the end of January, what is it that you hope to accomplish this year as Toothgrinder?
Well, I would love to get on some really great tours with some really incredible bands, and just, luckily before the record's out, we got on a couple wonderful tours. And we started playing the new songs live, just to see how it went over. And they've been extremely well accepted live. Like, people have just been, going from a band with just an EP to where, like, maybe a kid knows one of the songs and maybe knows a couple of lyrics, to, like, when we put The House That Fear Built, when we released that was the first song that we released off the record. Like, 2 days after, we were playing somewhere in America, and kids were just singing the lyrics. And it was, like, immediate people, like, grabbed onto it. And that was just such an interesting feeling, And I can only imagine with the release of the record and how Spinefarm and Outer Loop has been doing such a good job of telling people, and then, like, guys like you who are interviewing us and just really helping us spread the word. I just hope to get more tours and just to be able to play to as many people as possible and kind of meet them, and hopefully they have questions about, like, well, what were you thinking about this? Or hopefully they just get inspired to maybe write songs themselves and really be like, okay, you know what, dude, let's start this band. Let's really do this. Let's kind of, kick it into gear. I hope people get inspired, and I hope it just brings us to new places, because that's always the hope, is it just brings you somewhere new and exciting, maybe on a plane.
I think it's gonna be an exciting time for you guys. Now, you did just do a tour opening for Crucible, which is kind of a band a lot of people still don't really know that much about. That's like an amalgamation of We Came as Romans and Taproot. How was that run for you guys?
That was awesome, man. And going on tour with a band like that, you never know. Like, you never know what kind of dudes they're gonna be like. You never know. It's always a shot in the dark. And those were. And I say this after every single tour, and I feel so lucky that I get to say it. After every single tour we've been on, I have to say, everyone in that band, everyone in every band we've toured with, have just been the best dudes. Like, you meet someone for the first time, you don't know if they're going to get your sense of humor, they don't know if they're going to do this or do that, and they were just the coolest dudes. It's like we knew each other forever. Like, we didn't skip a beat. We kind of just started hanging out, helped each other load gear, psyched each other up before we went on stage, congratulated each other after we got off stage. Like, it was just awesome, man. We couldn't have asked for a better group of guys, Even the dudes in Ghost Key, the dudes in every band we've toured with have just been so amazing. And it's just, that alone is encouraging, to just be like, okay, if there's some real awesome people out there, like, there's got to be even more. So let me make this circle a little bigger and try and just keep traveling further and further away from home, because it's just the excitement is just what gets me going, So yeah, and they're a good band too, man. There was a lot of people who were just so amped on We Came as Romans that they just came to the show just to see what Crucible was all about, and they definitely got a nice little surprise, because they're fantastic live.
Yeah, I saw a video of them doing a Limp Bizkit cover that really made my day.
Oh, dude, growing up, I was a huge Limp Bizkit fan. Like, I'm talking, like, I had my mom tape Woodstock on VHS and watch it every day,
That's awesome.
And so I was a huge Limp Bizkit fan, and they kind of just, got me excited to be in a band and just write my own songs. And I remember the first night. Funny that you bring this up. The first night they played Break Stuff, I called my mom after the show, and I was like, Mom, guess what? She's like, what? And I was like, the headliner band, they played Break Stuff. She goes, no way. Are you serious? And then so we went through New York, and we're from New Jersey. So she came to the show in New York, and I was like, Mom, you got to stay till the end. You got to see this. And so me and my mom were, like, singing the chorus to Break Stuff, like, during Crucible in New York, and just laughing, because it was just like, she must have heard that song come from my room, I want to say 500,000 times growing up, and probably just being like, God, turn this off, please, But then fast forward years later, we're just laughing because, like, I'm on tour with this incredible band, and they're covering Limp Bizkit. Just like, oh, this is great, full circle.
Definitely, those are the best moments.
Oh, incredible. And they did an awesome job.
Well, with everyone you guys have been able to tour with in the last couple of years, like who's left? Like who's on that top echelon of the metal world that you still need to get out there and tour? Because I would think that like I would be satisfied having just been on the road with Periphery, especially after the last record, because that
Oh,
double
dude,
album's
no,
dope.
yeah, dude, that was an incredible feeling. Like, I'm not extremely well versed in modern metal or even like older metal for the fact. I'm more like a rock and roll kind of guy. I really like funk and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there is a couple bands in the metal genre that I definitely see myself just being like, whoa, this is crazy, And I was so new to Periphery. Like I said, I only really knew Matt Halpern because he's such an incredible drummer. I really didn't know any of the songs of Periphery before we went on tour with them, but I feel like a couple bands that I would really just absolutely be blown away. It would have to be Mastodon is probably number one. If we could tour with Mastodon, it would be one of those things where I would break my gear down as quickly as possible just so I made sure I didn't miss them. You know what I mean? Like, it would be like, all right, load the band, load the trailer, this and that. Like, we need to get back in and see them. That's like a band you just got to see every night play because they're just incredible. Probably Between the Buried and Me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love those. Those dudes are so cool. This would be hard, but Tool, I would love to tour with Tool. I respect everything about what they do. They're a band that just does what they want to do, and people love them for it. And, like, how could you not respect a band that just does what they want to do? That's an artist, Picasso painted pictures the way he wanted, not because whoever before him was like, oh, this is kind of how you do it. He's like, I don't really give a shit, dude. This is how I do it, And I kind of look at Tool in that vein of just like trailblazers, of just like, cool. They're making their own path, and it's incredible, and it's original, and it's awesome, and it captivates you. And not a lot of bands can do that. Not a lot of bands can get up on stage by themselves, tour just by themselves, and just play a 3-hour show. And it's just inspiring. Yeah, so Mastodon, Between the Buried and Me, Tool, Dillinger Escape Plan, for sure, especially just being from New Jersey and just drawing influence from them as well. Another band that just goes, cool, well, we're going to write this song because this is us. And I don't really care what you think about it. And that, to me, is more inspiring than selling billions of records and being on whatever. It's like, no, being true to yourself, for me, goes way longer than just being whatever famous or whatever you want to call anything. Mm-hmm. It's like those dudes are true to themselves, man, and that's more inspiring than anything.
No, I couldn't agree more, man. You guys seem to be trying to follow that same mantra in everything you do. You might not be to their level yet, but you guys have managed to kind of do what you want to do and surround yourself with people who want you to do more of it, which I think is that's cracking the code as far as entertainment is concerned.
Oh, no doubt, man. I appreciate you noticing that because, being the person trying to do it, I try not to tell myself ever, like, hey, man, doing a good job, doing a really good job. It's more like, you could do better. You could do better. Maybe let's reach out to a couple more people, this and that. But hearing that from an outside source, man, like, thank you. That really means a lot because that just makes me think all of the hard work that we are putting in is paying off in a small portion, and that feels really good, dude. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, no problem, man. And I appreciate you taking time to talk to me about everything. I've been jamming the record for a few weeks now, and I'm happy that we finally got a chance to talk about it for a little bit.
No doubt, dude. It means a lot that you took the time.
So you guys have, the record comes out January 29th. This will be out on the Tuesday before, so there's still a little time when people are listening to this before the record comes out. And then you guys have release shows next weekend.
Yep.
And then can you talk about anything beyond that yet?
We don't have anything, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, we're planning. We're still planning. Yeah, which is kind of exciting because we're very open to a little bit of anything.
Well,
so we kind of have a record release and yeah, we'll go from there.
All right, man. Well, that sounds good. Well, where can everyone keep up with everything Toothgrinder related?
We awesome social media presence. We got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I know Facebook seems to be what people gravitate towards most, but I love like Instagram. I love uploading funny pictures of us on tour and just good live shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we stay very active on our personal accounts as well, and just try and make sure everyone's updated on what's going on.
All right, man. Well, I wish you the best of luck with the album. Everyone go pick it up. It's fantastic. We're gonna play a little bit of it here before the show when people are listening to it. So, do you have a favorite song on the record we should use as the music?
It always changes for me, but I really love Blue. It's such a cool song. It's super fun to play. It's got a good groove. So yeah, I'll go with Blue.
All right. So this episode is that's Blue. That's the song you heard at the top of the episode. It's the song you hear at the end of the episode. And this has been our chat with Toothgrinder. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, man.
Dude, no problem. Thanks for thinking of us. We appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No problem. Have a great day. I know you've got like a dozen more interviews today, so take a
All
quick
good.
break. You've got like 15 minutes before the next one, so take the break
Right? I'll get some water, go to the bathroom, stretch a little bit, get right back to it.
All right, man. You have a great day.
Dude, thanks, man. Take it easy.
You too. Bye.
Later.